We'll do it live.
Not since Scarface, so much action. Not since the Marx Brothers, so much comedy. Not since the 7-Year Itch, so much Marilyn.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the lounge. Hi, Maria.
Hello. Hello. How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
Pull that mic a little closer to you.
Pull it.
Just swing it. There you go.
Okay.
All right, here we are. This is actually, we're back to one of your spins.
Yes, we are.
We've been off that a little bit. We've been
Yes,
doing
we
real
have.
movies. We did a whole Halloween thing. And I don't know how long ago that we spun Some Like It Hot.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. So here we are. We're going to talk about Some Like It Hot.
Mm-hmm.
Before we do that, there's a lot of alcohol in this movie because it takes place during Prohibition.
Right.
And everybody's drinking.
Mm-hmm.
All kinds of stuff. What did you make for the show?
So I made a Manhattan. And I made a Manhattan because when Jamie Curtis's dad...
You always say that. He's Tony Curtis.
Tony
That's so funny. He's a famous actor. Long before she was. Okay.
Sorry.
So Tony Curtis
is making out on the yacht with Marilyn Monroe.
Right.
They're drinking Manhattans.
Okay.
And it's made with bourbon instead of whiskey because that's what they were drinking in the little Dixie cups bourbon. They were drinking bourbon.
And the movie is just everybody's drinking all kinds of stuff in all kinds of stuff. Like,
right.
What are those rubber things? I forget what those are.
Those were like where you used to put hot water in them to heat up for cramps and stuff.
Okay.
So they would
were
fill that
drinking
with
out of
booze.
that.
Yeah.
So what are the ingredients?
So the ingredients are bourbon, sweet vermouth, and a dash of bitters.
And a little cherry.
And a little cherry.
All right.
Yeah.
How's it taste?
It's a strong one.
Yeah. Is it? They all had coffee. I want my coffee.
Yeah.
Okay.
They said I have Scotch coffee.
Right.
I want Irish coffee,
Right.
and that would be what they wanted.
All right.
there.
So let's talk about the film.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's see. Directed by Billy Wilder, starring
that
Marilyn Monroe,
Mm-hmm.
Jamie Lee Curtis's dad, Tony Curtis, Jack Lemmon. I mean, this is a famous film. Came out in 1959. I'm looking at the IMDb just because George Raft played Spats Columbo, who was supposed to be Scarface, basically. Pat O'Brien plays the cop that comes in and breaks up the... Joey Brown plays Osgood Fielding. We'll talk about him because he was a great character. The millionaire that goes after Jack Lemmon's character.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know who the woman playing the lady who runs Sweet Sue. Joan Schwally. I thought that was somebody else, but okay. So it came out in 1959, I believe, directed by Billy Wilder. Obviously, the big deal here was it's Marilyn Monroe. And the two male leads basically go and drag and play women. Would you like to give the plot, or you want me to give the plot?
Why don't you do it?
Really?
Why don't you do the honors?
You sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
This was your film to watch.
Yeah, I watched it.
Okay. Oh, I can tell where this is going. All right. So the plot is, in case anybody who's never seen the film, and actually, honestly, I had never seen the film
Okay.
when I watched it. Now, there were clips that I knew about, obviously, because I'm a film guy. But I had never seen it all the way through. Okay. So the plot is Prohibition, 1929. Jack Lemmon and Tony Curtis are in a band in a speakeasy that's getting busted. And they have to, they somehow, okay, there's all kinds of unbelievable things, as you know. You have to suspend disbelief, including them dressed as women and everybody thinking they're women. But yeah, you got to throw that away. So they run away from this raid that happens.
Right.
And somehow they get involved through them trying to get other jobs through their agents. They end up where the famous Valentine Massacre took place. Did you know about the Valentine Massacre?
Well, I know about it.
That Al Capone
Yeah.
went and shot a bunch of people.
Right.
Well, they witnessed that. They witnessed that event. That's based on...
So the opening, not the opening scene, but the scene when they're in the
garage.
bar.
Oh, the bar.
And the garage is where the
garage, the actual street that they end up on is the street that the actual Valentine Massacre took place.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that.
Because the movie starts in Chicago.
Okay.
So they witnessed this shooting. Somehow they get away from the guys who perpetrated the shooting, including Spats Columbo.
Right.
Who,
I love
George
that they call him
George
Spats.
Raft, famous gangster actor, I guess. Okay. And Edward G. Robinson Jr. is in this film as well. He's the guy that pops out of the cake and
kills
mows
them.
down Spats later
Right.
in the film. So anyway, these two guys witness it. Somehow they get away. So now the criminals are after them. They finagle through their agents that they find out that this train that's leaving to go to Florida needs a saxophone player and a bass player,
which they
both just happen to be, but they need to be female. So they decide to dress up as women and go on this train. That starts this whole plot. Mm-hmm. And of course, Marilyn Monroe is she's the violin player, or the ukulele, I think. Ukulele.
And then sing vocals.
And she sang. And of course, hijinks ensue on the train. Jack Lemmon's playing the more free-spirited fake female, and Tony Curtis was the more subdued. He just wanted to get down there to hide from these gangsters for a couple days and then get out of there. And they end up falling in love, obviously, with Marilyn Monroe. Somebody falls in love with Jack Lemmon, this millionaire, because Marilyn Monroe's whole thing was to get down to Miami and meet a millionaire, right? And hilarity ensued.
That's right.
Do you think hilarity ensued? What do you think?
Well, it's another one of those.
It's a classic, remember.
Well, first of all, what constitutes a classic? Like, what makes it a
everybody
classic?
loves this film? And it's a classic? I mean, what do you want me to say?
Well, I want criteria for classics. Like, it must do these 5 things.
I think it's in the lexicon of films that people remember the lines. Obviously, there's one line I'm going to talk about. I think the director, Billy Wilder, was well known for making these screwball comedies. You've got Marilyn Monroe, iconic Marilyn Monroe, in a film with Tony Curtis and Jack Lemmon. And I just think it's a kind of slapstick comedy. It's a classic slapstick. I'm with you. I'm not into like old timey films. It's hard to separate myself from the. You have to spend all kinds of disbelief. You have to believe that the women who are on the train with these two people had no idea that they were men. So that's the first thing you got to throw away. Everybody around them is believing that they're women. But I mean, I don't know what constitutes a classic. I mean, it's in the lexicon. It's in there.
I know. I'm just curious why it's a classic. Like, what was it? The camera? Like, what makes it a classic? Like, I just didn't understand.
I think it's the writing. It's Billy Wilder, and it's the 3 actors.
Okay,
that's what I'm going to say. And it's got famous lines that everybody knows about it. Everybody knows about this film.
Yes,
you may not have seen it.
I knew the name of it.
Right, you knew the premise about it. These guys dressed up as women to get away. No, you didn't know that? Mm-hmm. You had no idea that these two guys...
No, I didn't know. I just knew it was Some Like a Hot and had Marilyn Monroe. I had no idea.
You had no idea that they dressed as women.
Not until I watched it and I was like, God, that's...
What? You serious about that?
I'm serious.
That's amazing. All right, so give me your impression of what you saw.
Well, again, I'm looking at it with 2024 eyes. So that really kind of blows it, because to me... it was one big Lucy and Ethel, and it was, and I love Lucy and Ethel, and I love the grape scene, and I love Vitamin and Vitamin and all those things. And to me, those two men, were not trying to be, they preceded Lucy and Ethel. But they were.
Did they? When did the...
When was...
I don't know when. I have to look that up.
Because to me, it was the same kind of comedy.
Slapstick,
to me,
total slapstick.
Yeah. But I like Lucy and Ethel. I thought it went on too long. It should have just been like a half hour, 40 minutes max.
Okay, well, that's okay. Lucy came out in 1951 and 1957.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so Lucy preceded this.
Right.
Okay.
So they were just male versions of it, and I thought they were pale versions of it. Looking at it from these, it's just...
You don't worry about defending. It's okay. It's okay. I mean, it's funny. Yeah.
So I thought of that. And then, of course, I automatically go, oh, so this is bosom buddies,
Good. I didn't even think of that.
So, so it did spurn,
Did you think of Tootsie?
Generate some ideas. No, I did not, because
really?
I thought Tootsie was better.
No.
Better.
I'm not saying as a film, but just somebody playing a man playing a female.
No, because I think that's been done.
Oh, yeah, it's been done forever. I don't think, can you do it now?
Right. Well, no, because now it depends on the context, but... Mrs.
Doubtfire came out in, the 90s?
Right, and there's people saying, that wasn't good,
I know.
But, so with...
this is just fun. Okay.
Yeah, I understand. It's just a fun, feel-good movie. To me, it was just went on too long.
I'm not gonna
The
argue
gag was used up to me, like the trip on the train, and then they're down. It was like the same thing, just kept happening that you knew as a viewer, was going to happen.
Yeah.
So what I did love was I did love Marilyn Monroe. I did love the one scene where she sings the song about being, I always think of her as, Happy Birthday, Mr. President.
Right.
I didn't realize she did have a sweet kind of sultry, like a
Did she actually,
nice voice.
Was she sing? Was that her voice?
I kind of assumed it was, so they did a good job dubbing.
Yeah.
Well, it was also done he was hearing the lyrics and she was
Right.
I mean, it could have been somebody else singing. But I liked that scene. I didn't like, and then of course, the feminist in me is like, really, you just joined a female band because you keep getting taken advantage of by male people.
Oh, you mean
and
Marilyn's?
now, yeah.
Marilyn's.
And then you want to go to Florida so you can be rich and not have to work. It's like,
Yeah, this is 1959 though.
I understand. That's why I'm saying I'm looking at it with 2024 eyes. And, I know that that's not something I ever, like, even as a kid, which again, it was the 70s when I was a kid. So I never, that's nothing I aspire. Like, I would have frowned on that in the 70s also. Like her,
Right.
I would have been be your own person,
Again, I have to do the same thing. I have to disengage 2024.
Right.
I always make this joke when I was doing the other podcast.
Right.
And my brother would bring on these old films. He loves.
Mm-hmm.
He was born way too late. He should have been in the 40s or whatever. And my attitude was always like, oh my God, those people must have been starving for entertainment to think this stuff was funny, right? So like you're saying, you're questioning why is this a classic? I always went, oh my God, was there nothing else? This is what everybody thought was the greatest thing in the world. But the fact is, you have to put yourself in the time, and separate it from what's happened and what you've been through. Frankly,
Right.
Right. I'm not questioning what you just said. I'm just saying I do the same thing.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying that when I'm looking at them now, I can't do that.
In anything.
Like, I can't look at that and suspend my
You
judgment.
just can't let it go.
No, because I'm judgy. I'm judging her.
You've judged her from the beginning. Because she was like, I just want to find a millionaire, and saxophone players, they left their toothpaste and their, yeah.
I was like, come on, you got talent. You do you, girl.
Yeah.
You be you.
Obviously, there's some insecurities there, and including the actress Marilyn Monroe, because a lot of the stories that came out of this were that they'd have to wait 3 hours for her to get out on the set, and Billy Wilder would come up to them and say, "Hey," to Jack Lemmon and Tony Curtis, "Look, if she gets a good take, we're done. So you guys have to make sure everything you do is perfect, because if you got your hand up your nose or something and she's doing the take and we have to do it again, we may not get it from her." So she was dealing with a lot of her own insecurities that she always brought to the table. She was, she had a rough time. And I guess Billy Wilder and her had a huge falling out over this film, over the way she performed in this film, where he had a screening for the film and he didn't invite her to the screening. But years later, backtracked and realized that her performance in this film is pretty strong for what she had to go through and how he had to direct her. That they actually, what they created was a good performance.
Right.
And years later, he was like, I was so wrong about what I said about her. She was amazing. Now, who knows? That's years of, people changing their mind, memories fade and all that. So they had to deal with that too. But just as a film, I have to admit, I was like you. I'm like looking at it going, but then it just, I kind of let it just wash over me.
Mm-hmm.
And I start appreciating some of the Jack Lemmon, where he's he's learning how to dance the salsa
Mm-hmm.
with that Osgood who's
Mm-hmm.
falling in love with Jack as the female,
Right.
and the what do you call those little
Maracas?
maracas, and how he had to use that as part of his acting. You know, I got
Mhm.
engaged.
Yeah.
You're a man. Who I got security, and you
Yeah.
know how he had to time that for the jokes and all that. And Tony Curtis doing the millionaire, kind of doing a Cary Grant,
Right.
which then if you watch the Flintstones,
Cary
you
Granite.
remember Stoney Curtis?
Oh, I was thinking Cary Granite.
There's Cary Grant and Stoney Curtis, right? And I think that Stoney
Rock.
Curtis that's in the Flintstones used this as his voice art, the thing he did as part of his shtick for the Flintstones. Stoney Curtis. It wasn't
Yeah.
him doing the voice,
Right.
but somebody was doing the voice. So I sort of started appreciating that, and then I get to the end, and the line that Osgood guy gives, that last line in the film. You come
Enlighten
on.
me.
Okay.
I've forgotten.
So at the end of the film, they all end up on the little boat.
Right, I remember that.
So it's Tony Curtis and Marilyn Monroe,
Mm-hmm.
Jack Lemmon and this guy, who's the actor? Because I want to shout him out because I'm going to say something that's going to be a little controversial. I think, if anybody who knows me, what's that guy's name? The guy playing Osgood, Joey Brown. Okay, so
Okay.
he's the millionaire that's
Right.
falling in love with Jack,
Right,
and they're on the boat on the way out.
right.
Marilyn Monroe and Tony Curtis are kissing in the back.
Mm-hmm.
And Jack Lemmon's trying to explain to this guy that we can't get married. And Joey
Right.
Brown's Osgood's going, well, you're going to meet my mother tomorrow. You're going
Right.
to wear her dress at the wedding.
It's white lace. Yeah, Osgood, I can't get married in your mother's dress. She and I, we are not built the same way.
Jack says, I can't have kids.
Yeah.
I can never have children. We can adopt some. But you don't understand, Osgood. I'm a man. Well, nobody's perfect.
That's what got me. That
Really?
last line in the film made me go, the rest of it, I don't care. And I think that line is better than we're going to need a bigger boat. Just from my, I just love the reading of the line. I think the line, if I wrote that line, I'd be like, I just wrote the line of the century. That's an amazing thing. And then Jack Lemmon's turn into the camera.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, I'm sold on the film. Will I ever watch it again? No, I won't. I'm glad I watched it, and I enjoyed the watch.
Okay.
But you did not.
No, I did not.
Okay, so what would you rate on our scale, which is 1 to 5?
Well, I want to know, did it win any awards?
Oh, I'm sure it won something.
Well, because that
I
goes
don't
back
know.
to the
Did it win any Oscars?
keeping the classic for future generations. Directed by Billy Wilder, sparkling new.
It won one
brand.
Oscar.
For what?
Let me see. Best costume design.
Deserved it.
Yeah. Oscar nominee, Best Actor in a Leading Role, Jack Lemmon. Oscar nominee, Best Director. And the third, Best Writing. I agree with that. And cinematography got nominated, and Best Art Direction. I thought the
Okay.
black and white cinematography was gorgeous.
Oh, it was a pretty
Yeah.
thing. And I liked her. Like I said, I liked her. I liked that they called the guy Spats. I liked that his name was Spats.
And he had the spats on the shoes.
because he had the spats on the
Right.
shoes. And I was like, okay, that's a cute little play on words. Nice little pun,
Right.
you know. And
But would you, I guess you don't consider it a classic.
well, again, I'm not a movie
I know.
connoisseur,
I know.
so I don't
This
feel
is hard for both of us.
I don't
I
feel
always say this.
comfortable saying what's a classic and what's
Yeah.
not a classic.
This is really hard for both of
You
us
know,
because
Because I like books, so I'm all about the story and, you know, how it's told and how it's unfolding and the symbolism and all those kinds of things that really exist in some movies but don't exist here.
like what didn't exist here.
I mean, to me, the plot was simple. The climax was lackluster.
Goofy. I mean, it's goofy. They end up on a boat, and it's the thing. Okay, I'll say what I don't like about these kind of films.
Okay.
It's that whole the circumstantial stuff.
Right.
Like Tony Curtis has to get the boat.
Right.
So Osgood, they
Right.
end up Tony leaves the boat in the morning. He's walking up on the pier, and Osgood's coming down because he just had his big night with his girl, Jack.
Right.
Tony's had his night with Marilyn.
Right.
Then Osgood just gets back on the boat, and that whole confluence of and then, of course, the gangsters end up at that hotel because there's an Italian orchestra. I forget what the reason they were there. Mm-hmm. They were celebrating some kind of Italian thing.
Yeah.
And Spatz had his birthday, and that's why the cake was there, which got him killed because the guy, Edward Robertson Jr., gets up and shoots him, machine guns him down. So those kind of confluences of circumstances drive me insane. But again, it's a screwball comedy. Right. And it's supposed to happen like that. It is I Love Lucy that that you didn't appreciate as much, but it's the same thing. It's slapstick. It's Three Stooges. It's
right. I mean, it was, like I said, it just was too long. I mean, a half an hour episode would be great.
Well, I don't know. Okay.
45 minutes, maxed out. 2 hours.
Was it 2 hours? I think
1 hour and 52 minutes.
Oh, really? You knew that? Oh, you timed it.
I did.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. All right. So 1 to 5.
2.
Whoa. Oh, my God. But it's a classic.
That's why it's a 2. It was going to be less, and I was like, nah, we'll be nice. We'll give it a 2.
I'm gonna give it a 3.5. How's that look? Don't be so judgmental. Now you're being judgmental.
I am judgy. I told you. I fessed up to it. I said I'm very judgmental. Okay, I'm very judgmental about.
That's like mid. That's in the
that's
middle.
Like no.
But
that's
it's a classic.
2.5's middle. You're well over.
Because I thought the performances
were
great. I thought the cinematography was amazing, and the last line just killed me. And it's one of those lines that I go on YouTube and I just grab that scene because I just think it's brilliant.
So you said there's other lines that are quoted all the time?
Yeah. I don't know what those are. But yeah, it's Jack Lemmon, I got engaged, I'm a man, I want security, it's that kind of stuff. I'm sure some of the gangster stuff. Hey Charlie, good night Charlie. There's that whole thing right before they kill everybody at the St. Valentine's thing. There were lots of quotes going on there that I think are famous. But the most famous, and it's number, you can't see it, but I got that list of 101 greatest. It's number 48 on that list.
Ooh, okay.
And I don't even know where You Need a Bigger Boat is. I'm not sure if it's where that is. But for me, it surpassed You Need a Bigger Boat. We Need a Bigger Boat. I just think it's one of those lines that if I had written and I saw what I'd lose my mind.
Really?
So yes, really,
okay,
truly. So, all right. Well, that was quick. I could get into all the machinations about the behind the scenes and why Billy Wilder is this and that, but this is for you and me, and I.
Well, I am curious. You said it. Sometimes Marilyn Monroe would take 3 hours to get to set. Why?
She was very insecure about her acting. She was also pregnant at the time too. She was insecure because she just felt like she was not good enough to be out there acting. She was worried about her singing, about her acting. It was the whole thing. I mean, she was. That's why she had such a rough time.
Well, because the way she was treated.
Of course. I mean, you get psychologically, you can get into that whole thing.
Right. Like I don't blame her for being insecure about her acting because they really didn't hire her for her acting. That was secondary to her looks.
Sure. You're bringing me down. I'm not lowering.
I'm sorry.
I'm not lowering my score, by the way. So.
I don't want you to lower your score. I was just curious about that because, she's kind of a tragic figure. And so.
Totally. And I don't know where this is in her filmography, if this is like early or... I think she had done 7 Year Itch before this.
Yeah.
Let me see her filmography. I want to see where this was in her filmography because...
Okay.
Yeah, of course obviously she's a tragic figure based on everything we now know.
Well, in the way Hollywood treated women at that time.
Okay. But you're killing me right now.
And they still do.
They still do.
Yeah.
Nothing's changed there. Okay, so this is her third from last film.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, she did a Bus Stop, 7 Year Itch. There's No Business Like Show Business. I don't know if this is, she did a lot. So, so this is like the tail end of her career and her life, basically. How do you feel about the idea of men dressing up as women with your 2024 eyes?
I just don't, I don't find a humor in it. I really don't. Like
I mean,
know,
vaudeville's based on that.
I know, but
and drag queens are based on that.
No. These men dressing up like women and the art of drag,
Two different things?
totally different things.
Because I'm an idiot?
No,
Oh.
I love a drag queen. I love a drag queen. These men are not drag queens. Drag queens, they are dressing up as women not for laughs because they look funny. They are, develop personas. They have characters.
Okay, but the behind the scenes on this stuff, the stuff these two guys had to go through to do what, like, Jack comes out. This is because I've watched a lot of stuff about the making of the film.
Right.
And Jack Lemmon was completely comfortable coming out in women's. He didn't care.
Right.
Jamie Lee Curtis's dad, Tony Curtis, was very worried about how he was going to proceed and how he was going to play this. Because Jack comes out completely like...
Well, but Jack Lemmon, and I could be wrong because I don't know a lot about him, but he's Odd Couple, right?
Yeah.
So he's plays for laughs all the time.
Right.
Tony Curtis, wasn't he a bit of a pretty boy?
Well, yeah.
In Hollywood?
Yeah, he did more serious. He did a lot of serious stuff.
But also he was known for his looks a little bit.
I think so.
So it makes total sense. Jack Lemmon always playing it for the jokes, whatever he's got to do, he's going to do because that's who he is. That's who he always is. And Tony Curtis, this is off track for him.
Off brand, yeah.
Yeah.
And he said he channeled his mother for this with the whole lips thing he did when he wasn't talking. All right. Yeah, so there's a lot of behind the scenes about the way those two are approaching their part. And, like I said, I understand. You got to suspend disbelief. The scene in the train where they're all up in Jack Lemmon's
that's just ridiculous.
thing. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
But again, it's a movie. Yeah, it's slapstick. So you said what, 2 or 2.5?
I said 2.
2. I said 3.5.
Yeah.
That's 5.5 divided by 2 is what? 2.4, 2.75?
Yeah, 2.25.
Okay. I'm not a math guy.
2.25.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go. Some like it hot. Some don't like it at all. So
some found it cold.
And the "some like it hot" reference is a jazz reference because some guys like it hot.
Yeah, hot jazz.
Yeah, and people are going to kill us because there's so many famous people in this film, which is what makes it a classic. I mean, that's the Spats guy, and that's George Raft, and
I don't.
You don't care.
No, it's not that I don't care. I don't know. I don't know.
All right. So now we're going to spin for your next film.
Oh, so we're no questions?
No, we're not going to do that. We got. So there's a lot of them on here.
Oh my God, how'd they get so many on there?
I keep adding. And these, a lot of these are movies I've seen, but you haven't. But so let's see what pops up. Oh no. Oh. The water, yeah, wow. That's part of it. Chinatown. Mm-hmm. So you've never seen Chinatown?
No, I've never seen Chinatown.
Oh. Well, obviously that's why we're here.
Yeah.
I think you're not going to like this one.
Well, Jack Nicholson's in it, right?
Yeah.
Not a huge Jack Nicholson fan. But who's the female?
Faye Dunaway.
And I do like Faye Dunaway.
And John Huston.
Medium on him.
Directed by Roman Polanski.
Oh,
I know.
Got
I know.
Polanski issues.
I know. Do you want to not do it because of that? No, we're good, right? It's a This is a classic.
You've said that about a lot of them.
This is a classic. No, this is a classic. Okay. So that'll be the next one, Chinatown.
When was this made? Chinatown,
I think 1974.
Oh.
We having a little stormage?
It's big. Storm,
really?
wind. It's supposed to be really bad.
It's huge. Let me see if I can find it.
So that is post Sharon Tate. Pre. So he's married to Sharon Tate at this point?
I don't know if he's married.
Hasn't met her.
1974. I don't know that. So she got killed in 68.
Oh, okay.
This is post.
Yeah.
69.
So that
happened in 69. So this is post Sharon Tate.
Yeah.
So does that what does that do for you? Is that
I
hurt or
was
help?
just curious in his. I mean, it's post he and Jack Nicholson are the ones that entice the girl into the hot tub.
Okay. Yes, you're right. You're right. You're right. That's okay. But we're still gonna watch it. Are we gonna watch it?
I'll watch it.
You won't judge me?
I won't judge you.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go. Maybe we see Chinatown. All right. Does that sound good?
Yes.
All right. There you go.
Okay.
Some like it hot.
There you go.
Cheers.
Cheers. Are you okay?
That's awesome. Did I get that on camera? That's freaking great. Wow.